Okay, let's dive right in. I want to start with a feeling. A really specific, almost physical sensation that I think a lot of us have been having lately.
I think I know what you're talking about.
You're walking down the street, maybe you're in a grocery store, you're just scrolling on your phone, and you get this gut level hit of wrongness.
Yes.
Not just, oh, things are bad, but things are broken. Like the script of reality has a typo in it, or the server is lagging.
The glitch in the matrix sensation, it has become so pervasive right now.
Yeah.
And I just want to start by validating that for everyone listening.
Please.
If you are feeling like the world is rendering slowly, or that the narrative continuity is just snapping, you are not crazy.
It's so good to hear.
You're not alone. In fact, advanced practitioners of the concepts we're going to discuss would say that feeling is not a symptom of illness at all. It is a signal.
A signal. I like that because it really does feel like noise, just chaotic noise. But you're saying there's a message in it?
There's information in the static.
And that is exactly what we are getting into today. We are looking at a stack of concepts that suggest this feeling, this glitch, is actually an invitation. This is our deep dive into the universe of the dreams of Phillip and the Becoming Lucid series.
Episode 9 of our 10-part arc.
And the topic is a big one. 3 quantum reasons to pick your timeline, N now W.
And that word now is doing a lot of work. The emphasis really is on the urgency. We are looking at this strange convergence of hard science, specifically quantum computing, and these really deep metaphysical frameworks.
And the core tension we're exploring, the thing that just grabbed me, is this idea that your attention isn't just a passive camera recording the world.
No, not at all.
It's a projector. It is literally feeding a timeline.
It's an active force. That's the hook that gets you. This idea that feeding a timeline sounds like, something out of a sci-fi novel.
Right.
But when we get into the details of the Aisling lore and you start mapping it against what is actually happening in the world in 2025, in 2026, it starts to feel uncomfortably real.
So let's set that stage. The material we're drawing from describes this current atmosphere as a time of spells breaking.
Which is such a potent metaphor. I mean, think about the spells that have governed our lives for decades. The spell of economic stability, for instance.
Okay, tell me more.
Well, look at the economic flight to gold and silver. On a global scale, that is essentially a vote of no confidence in the fiat story we've all been told for the last 50 years. That spell is breaking.
And then there's AI, the spell of get a good job, have a career.
Exactly. AI displacing jobs at this incredible rate. It breaks the whole spell of career and meritocracy. The rules we thought were solid are just dissolving.
And you can't ignore the environmental side, the megastorms, the weird weather that's breaking the spell of climate stability, the idea that nature is a predictable backdrop to our lives.
It's all happening at once, and it leads to this exhaustion of sense-making. That's a term I've seen in the analysis that just hits the nail on the head.
Oh, that's it. That is the feeling, the fatigue of just trying to figure out which narrative is true.
Because it feels like we're all living in parallel informational universes, doesn't it? My social media feed looks nothing like my neighbor's feed.
We're not even arguing about the same set of facts anymore. We're on totally different planets.
Precisely. And so we find ourselves in a state where consensus reality is becoming optional. The old central server where we all agreed on the basic rules of the game. That server is crashing.
And that sounds like a catastrophe.
It does. When consensus reality unravels, you enter a state of high entropy, of chaos. But the framework we're using today, the Lucid Journeys framework, suggests this isn't a disaster to be feared.
It's a challenge.
It's a challenge to be met. And the whole mission of this deep dive is to figure out how to navigate this unraveling. Well, like a lucid dreamer.
And navigating reality like a lucid dreamer. That's the heart of the Phillip books, isn't it? Instead of just letting the nightmare happen to you, you have that moment of recognition. Wait a minute. I'm dreaming.
And in that moment, everything changes. Suddenly, you have agency. You can change the script.
But, okay, before we get to the how, we have to really understand the what. And this brings us to the first big chunk of our deep dive. The first quantum reason. And I have to admit, reading the notes for this one actually scared me a little bit.
You're referring to the Unveiling.
Yeah. Or, to use the Greek term from the material, apocalypsis. It just sounds so final.
It's a very heavy word. And we've been conditioned, mostly by Hollywood, to hear apocalypse and immediately think of zombies, nuclear fire, the end of the world.
The whole 9 yards.
But that's a complete mistranslation of the concept. It's lost its original meaning.
So what does it actually mean?
Etymologically, apocalypsis just means an unveiling or a lifting of the veil.
So not an ending, but a revealing.
A revelation of things that were hidden. It isn't the end of the world. It is the end of the lies about the world. And in our context today, this is tied directly to a very specific, very real technological threat. Harvest now, decrypt later.
Okay, let's break this down, because the outline makes a really important distinction here, and I think it's crucial for everyone to get their head around this. The difference between quantum physics and quantum computing.
Yes.
It feels like in pop culture, people just throw the word quantum in front of anything they want to sound magical or mysterious, but there's a hard difference here.
A critical difference. We need to separate them to understand what's happening. We will get to quantum physics and the nature of reality itself in the second section. That's where all the cool metaphysics lives.
Right.
But right now, for this first point, we are talking about quantum computing. This is purely technological. This is engineering. It is the ability to use quantum properties like superposition and entanglement to solve mathematical problems that are currently impossible for classical computers.
And the main math problem they're all trying to solve is our encryption.
Correct. Think about how the modern world runs. Your bank details, state secrets, diplomatic cables, your private messages to your friends, they are all protected by layers of encryption.
It's like a mathematical safe.
It's an incredibly complex mathematical safe. For a normal supercomputer to try and guess the combination to that safe, it would take, millions, maybe billions of years.
Yeah.
It is, for all practical purposes, unbreakable.
Today.
Today, that's the key word. But a functional quantum computer doesn't work like a classical computer. It doesn't guess one combination at a time. Through superposition, it can effectively test all possible combinations simultaneously.
So that problem that takes 1 million years for a supercomputer.
A quantum computer could solve it in seconds, maybe minutes. The safe is no longer a safe.
And this is where the harvest now, decrypt later part comes in. This is the scary part. We know from intelligence reports, from cybersecurity analysis, that bad actors and, let's be honest, major governments are scooping up all this encrypted data right now.
They're hoarding it.
They're hoarding the locked safes. They can't open them yet, but they are storing them in massive data centers, just waiting.
Waiting. Because they know that in a few years, some say 2028, some say the timeline is shrinking to 2026, when that quantum threshold is finally crossed, they can unlock everything retroactively.
That is genuinely terrifying. It fundamentally changes the nature of privacy. It means everything you do today, that email you sent complaining about your boss, that private message to a loved one, maybe even sensitive medical data, is permanent.
It's like you're writing a diary entry in invisible ink, but you know that in 5 years, someone is going to come along with a universal blacklight and read every single word.
And there's nothing you can do about it then. The data is already out there.
Exactly. And this is how we circle back to the real meaning of apocalypsis, the unveiling. Imagine a world where total transparency is not a choice, but a mathematical inevitability, where secrets become impossible to keep.
That is a lifting of the veil.
The technology itself is forcing a spiritual, or at least a behavioral shift upon all of us.
Because if everything is going to be revealed eventually, you can't be a fake. You can't maintain two separate identities, the one you show in public and the one you are in private. The math won't let you.
Precisely. And if we connect this to the bigger picture of becoming lucid, it forces us to reframe the fear. Instead of being terrified of the exposure, you can choose to view it as a forcing function for authenticity.
A forcing function. I like that.
If you know the walls are coming down eventually, the only safe move is to be congruent now, to become the same person in the dark as you are in the light, because the darkness is temporary.
So the first quantum reason to pick your timeline, to get your act together, basically, is that the unveiling is coming whether you like it or not. You have to be authentic because the tech is going to strip away the mask anyway.
It is the death of privacy as we've known it, but it's potentially the birth of a more honest humanity. It forces integrity. I mean, think about it. If you know you are being recorded for a future audience, you tend to act with a little more deliberate care, don't you?
That's a really hopeful way to look at a surveillance nightmare. But I see the logic. If you can't hide, you have to be good, or at least be real.
And that is the technological layer. That's the hardware problem.
Right.
But now we have to go deeper. We have to move from the machine to the mind.
Okay. Section 2. The second quantum reason. This is where we get into the assemblage point and tuning the radio. This is the stuff that really bends my brain, but it's also, I think, the most empowering part of the entire Phillip lore.
It is, because this is where we shift from quantum computing to quantum physics,
Mm-hmm.
specifically the well-known observer effect.
Right. I've heard of this, but can you break it down for us?
Sure. In quantum mechanics, it's a foundational principle. It's been established for a century. Subatomic particles, the very building blocks of reality, exist in a state of probability, a wave of all possible outcomes until they are observed or measured.
They're everywhere and nowhere at once.
In a sense, yes.
Yeah.
The act of observation collapses that wave of potential into a single definite particle, a single reality.
So, on a fundamental level, reality is fluid until we look at it.
That's the essence of it. And the Lucid Journeys framework takes that principle and scales it up, using this wonderful metaphor of a radio to explain how this works in our own lives. Can you walk us through the radio model?
Yeah, I'll try. It's a concept from the metaphysician character in the books. You have to imagine that all possible timelines, all possible versions of the future are broadcasting simultaneously.
Like radio stations, they're all on the air right now.
Exactly. So the global disaster station is playing, the utopia station is playing, the everything just kind of stays the same station is playing. They all exist as potentials in the quantum soup.
And you, the observer, are the one with the tuner. You have a dial.
And in the book, they call this the assemblage point, which is such a cool term. It's the focal point of your perception, of your consciousness.
And where you place that attention, your internal state of being, determines which station you actually hear, which reality you experience.
So it's not that the world is crashing and burning, it's that I'm attuned to the crash and burn FM.
And your neighbor might be tuned to a completely different station. This is where it gets really interesting, because the material points us to a specific, perfect scene from the Dreams of Phillip Ashling, chapters 27 through 30, that illustrates this perfectly. It's the scene with Philip's prediction charm.
Oh, I love this example. It makes it so clear. So for those who haven't read it yet, and seriously, go get the book. It'll make all this click. Philip is on a cruise ship.
Yeah.
And he has this charm that changes color based on the probability of future events.
That's like a magical 8-ball, but way more stressful.
Yeah, exactly. It's a probability barometer. And in this scene, he's worried about a potential disaster involving a character named Cynthia. He thinks she might fall on the ship.
Right. And he looks at the charm for guidance, and it starts turning a dark, ominous purple. And in the logic of the charm, dark purple indicates that a bad future is becoming highly likely.
And naturally, Philip does what any of us would do. He freaks out. You see the doom color, you panic. His heart rate goes up, he starts sweating. He's vividly imagining the fall, the injury, all of it.
But here's the critical twist. The deeper insight from this chapter is that the charm wasn't showing him a fixed external fate. It wasn't saying, this will happen and you are powerless.
So what was it doing?
It was reacting to Philip's panic.
Wait, so because he was afraid, the charm showed him a future to be afraid of.
It's a feedback loop, a perfect closed circuit. Philip's fear was the input. His fear was tuning his assemblage point, his internal radio dial, directly to the disaster timeline.
So his internal state of panic was actually increasing the probability of the accident happening.
Yes, the charm was just a mirror. It was reflecting his own energetic signal back to him. The more he panicked, the more purple it got. The more purple it got, the more he panicked.
That is profound. And it's so easy to see the parallel. The charm is our newsfeed.
Is the perfect real-world analogy. We look at the news, we see war, collapse, economic failure. We feel fear. That fear tunes our radio to that frequency.
And then the algorithm, which is just the technological version of the charm, sees that we're engaging with fear.
And it feeds us more of it. We click on more of those stories, we get served more ads for survival gear, we become active participants in the collapse of the disaster probability wave.
So we aren't just passive victims watching the world burn on TV. By watching it burn with fear and outrage, we are, in a very real sense, pouring gasoline on the fire.
We are locking in that reality tunnel. The observer effect isn't a passive thing. It implies we are participants. Panic tunes you to the collapse station. Intention, focus, creation that tunes you to the renewal and evolution station.
This raises a really important question, though. I can hear people saying this sounds a bit like toxic positivity, you know? Just ignore all the bad stuff and think happy thoughts. Oh, the ship isn't sinking. I'm just manifesting buoyancy.
A fair and crucial distinction to make. It is not about ignoring reality. It is about selecting which probability you want to energize. You can be fully aware that there is a storm on the horizon without becoming the storm. The metaphysician in the book would say you need to consciously shift your assemblage point. You acknowledge the purple color on the charm. You don't deny it's there.
You see it, you validate it.
You validate it, but instead of panicking, you steady your breath. You consciously shift your intent to safety, to stability, to a solution, and you watch the color on the charm begin to change.
You change the station, you don't smash the radio or pretend the other station doesn't exist. You just stop listening to it.
Exactly. You withdraw your energy from the timeline you do not wish to inhabit, and you pour that energy into the one you do.
Okay, wow. So reason 1 was the unveiling technology is going to force authenticity. Reason 2 is the radio your fear literally locks in the bad timeline. Now let's go to reason 3. And this one gets into the critters of this whole ecosystem, the Draiths and the Nagwaagan.
Yes. The third quantum reason is about the ecosystem of attention. And this follows logically from the last point. If we accept that our emotion and our attention are a form of energy, actual calories of physics being expended, then we have to ask the ecological question, who or what is eating that energy?
It's the hidden economy of emotion. That's a great phrase for it. Let's talk about the Draiths first. These are basically the antagonists in the lore, right? The bad guys.
In the context of the Phillip universe, yes. The Draiths are described as fear feeders. They are, for lack of a better term, interdimensional entities that thrive on low-frequency, chaotic, fear-based energy.
So they need you to doom scroll. That's not a byproduct of their existence. It's the point.
They absolutely depend on it for their survival. They need you to feel helpless. They need you to feel outraged and terrified and divided. That emotional exhaust, that specific vibration of, I am angry but I feel powerless, that is their food source.
So if you're calm, if you're centered, if you're focused on creating something,
you are essentially starving them. They can't metabolize that energy. They have nothing to feed on.
That puts a whole new and frankly creepy spin on my late-night Twitter binges. I'm not just wasting my own time. I'm ringing the dinner bell for these fear parasites.
It's like you're a battery in their matrix.
Oh, man.
You're being farmed. And that realization that I do not consent to being food is usually the first major step to waking up from that trance.
But there's a counterforce, right? It's not just us against them. There's the Nagwaagan.
The Nagwaagan. It's described as a numinous dream catcher, which is a beautiful image. You can think of it as a kind of spiritual filter and amplifier.
Okay, so what does it do?
In the lore, its first job is to protect the dreamer from the influence of the Draiths. It filters out that chaotic noise. But its most important function is that it amplifies the signal the dreamer chooses to send.
So it's like a lens
Yes.
or a satellite dish for your intention?
A lens is a great way to think about it. Or a resonating chamber. If you focus your energy on gratitude, on community, on building something new, the Nagwaagan takes that clear, coherent signal and boosts it. It helps you stabilize and strengthen that renewal timeline we talked about.
This brings us to a really cool modern analogy the outline uses, the Gen Alpha metaphors. I love this because it makes this very abstract concept so relatable to how we experience the internet today. It talks about private Minecraft servers.
It is a brilliant way to explain consensus reality unraveling. Think of the old world, say the 1990s or early 2000s, as everyone playing on one massive central server.
The main quest.
Exactly. Same rules, same map, same physics for everybody. Everyone watched the same 6 p.m. news and largely agreed on what was real.
But now that central server is glitching out, it's lagging, the code is corrupted with misinformation and conflicting narratives.
So what are people doing? They're spinning up their own private server.
Or their own Roblox instances, yeah.
Exactly. And you are building your server, your reality, with every single emotional reaction. When you engage with that Draith energy, the fear, the division, the story of collapse, you are literally coding those rules into your private server. You are spawning monsters in your own game.
And the glitch in the matrix feeling isn't an error code from the old server.
No. It's a system notification. It's popping up on your screen saying, system update. The old rules no longer apply. You are now the server admin. Please choose your new settings.
And you have to choose. You can't just ignore the pop-up. The outline defines 3 paths here. There's the doom loop.
That's where you view the collapse as inevitable and just keep feeding it. You stay on the crashing central server and just complain endlessly about the lag.
Then there's the naive spiral.
That's the spiritual bypassing route. The belief that everything will just magically work out without you having to do any inner work or take any action. Just, good vibes only while the house is on fire.
And then there's the third way, the lucid choice.
Active tuning. That's the path of the lucid dreamer. Recognizing that you are in a choose-your-own-adventure book and you have to actually turn the page yourself.
And experienced dream masters know this is the moment of maximum power, when the dream becomes unstable, when it starts to fall apart.
That is precisely when you can take control and reshape it. The instability is the opportunity.
Okay, so we have the 3 reasons. To recap. 1, secrets are coming out because of tech, so you have to be real. 2, you tune into reality with your fear or with your focus. And 3, there are literal ecosystems that want to eat your fear, so don't feed them.
That's a great summary.
So now let's get practical. This is all fascinating, but what do we do with it? Section 4, navigating the unraveling. How do we actually practice this practical lucidity on a Tuesday morning when the coffee maker breaks and the news is just a nightmare?
The first step is to completely reframe how you interpret the glitches. We mentioned Mandela effects and synchronicities earlier.
Right, the Mandela effect. For anyone who doesn't know, it's that phenomena where a large group of people remember something that apparently never happened, like everyone remembering the cornucopia and the Fruit of the Loom logo.
Which apparently never existed.
Or remembering the Berenstein Bears with an E, not an A. Okay. Or that movie Shazam with the comedian Sinbad that definitely existed in my timeline, but apparently not in this one.
Usually we just dismiss these things as funny quirks of memory or, internet conspiracies. But in the Lucid Journeys framework, we're invited to see them as wake-up cues.
What do you mean by that?
They are cracks in the continuity of the script. When you experience that kind of disorientation, when things just don't add up, the old habit is to retreat, to try and force it to make sense.
To basically gaslight yourself.
Well,
oh, I must just be misremembering.
Exactly. The lucid approach is the opposite. You lean into it. You use it as a trigger. In lucid dreaming practice, a reality check is something you do periodically to see if you're dreaming.
Like looking at your hands to see if they look weird or trying to read text twice.
Right. And if the text on a sign changes when you look away and look back, you know you're in a dream. And in that moment, you become lucid. You gain your powers.
So when I see a glitch in the real world, a bizarre coincidence, a piece of news that feels completely scripted and fake, I should treat that like a reality check.
Yes. Let it be a little bell that goes off in your head. Ding, I might be dreaming. I need to wake up right now.
Okay, so step 1 is recognize the glitch. Don't dismiss it.
Validate the glitch. Even get curious about it. Practice being comfortable with disorientation. Say to yourself, okay, the script is broken. That means I have free will in this moment. And then, from that place of awareness, you tune consciously.
And how do we tune? The outline talks about the pixel concept. I really, really like this image.
This is the daily, moment-to-moment application. Imagine the future is a giant image being downloaded pixel by pixel, like an old dial-up modem loading a picture on a screen, one line at a time.
Oh, I remember that pain, that slow reveal.
Every click you make online, every conversation you have, every emotion you choose to dwell on, that is a pixel you are adding to the image.
So if I spend an hour getting into an argument with a stranger on the internet about politics,
you are adding gray, angry, chaotic pixels to the image of your future. You are voting with your attention for a reality of conflict. You are literally building the room that you are going to have to live in.
Wow, but if I spend that same hour calling a friend to see how they are, or working on a creative project, or even just sitting outside in gratitude for 5 minutes.
You are adding bright, vibrant, structured, coherent pixels.
Yep.
You are voting for the renewal timeline. And the provocative question the source material asks us to consider is this. If I repeat this specific reaction eternally, which timeline am I building?
Oof, that is a heavy question. That's basically Nietzsche's eternal recurrence, isn't it? If I had to do what I'm doing right now forever and ever, would I want to live in that world?
And it connects right back to the quantum computing harvest now, decrypt later idea.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is stored. Everything counts. There are no throwaway moments anymore. Every pixel matters.
It makes you so much more conscious of your energy. It's not just about being nice for the sake of it. It's about survival. It's about ecosystem management. You don't want to be breeding Draiths in your own living room.
And you want to empower the Nagwaagan to amplify your clearest, most coherent signal. You want to build a private server that is actually worth playing on.
So let's wrap this up. We've covered a lot of ground here, from quantum computers to fear-eating monsters. We started with the why now, that palpable feeling that 2026 is a kind of breaking point.
And we explored the 3 quantum reasons for that. The unveiling, where technology forces transparency and authenticity. The dial, where quantum physics shows us that our observation actively selects our reality.
And the ecosystem, where our attention is literally the food source for the timeline we inhabit.
It is a lot to take in. It's a huge paradigm shift for most people. And I think the sources make a really good point in the outro section. This is messy.
Yes. Thank you for saying that. It's not about being perfect.
Not at all. And this is so important to emphasize. Phillip Ashling, the protagonist of the books, is not some superhero who gets it right immediately. He stumbles constantly, he panics, he accidentally feeds the wrong timeline sometimes. That's part of the human journey.
I don't have to be a Zen master overnight.
No, it's called becoming lucid, not being perfect immediately.
That's a great way to put it.
The key is remembering that you have the power to change the station if you don't like the music.
Yeah.
You are not glued to the disaster frequency. You never were. You just forgot you had a hand on the dial.
I love that. And speaking of the journey, we should mention that this deep dive is episode 9 of 10 in our Becoming Lucid series.
We are getting very close to the season 1 finale. And the topic for that is going to be what it means to be awake right now. It really sounds like it's going to tie all these different threads together into a unified theory of lucid living.
Absolutely. And if this conversation has sparked your curiosity, if you want to dive deeper into the lore we talked about, the Draiths, the assemblage point, Philip's charm, you really need to check out the books.
The Dreams of Phillip Ashling.
You can find the second edition of Book 1, which is available with discounts at philiphazling.com, and Book 2 is coming fresh off a very successful Kickstarter.
You know, it is rare to find a middle-grade fantasy series that doubles as a practical manual for navigating quantum reality. But here we are. It is a fantastic tool for the dream detectives out there.
It really is. So here's our final call to action for you, the listener. We want you to try the tuning shift for yourself.
Just one small thing. You don't have to change your whole life. Journal it. Identify one single moment in your day where you usually feed the fear. Maybe it's checking the news first thing in the morning or getting stuck in traffic. And just choose for that one moment to feed the renewal instead.
Change one pixel today. See what happens to the overall picture.
And remember, you are a timeline navigator. We are all out here exploring this multiverse together.
So keep your assemblage point steady, watch out for the Draiths, and we will see you on the next deep dive.
Stay lucid.
Bye for now.
Goodbye.
Oh, wait. Before we completely sign off, I just had a thought, a slightly paranoid thought.
Uh-oh.
We talked about the harvest now, decrypt later thing, and how everything digital is being recorded.
It is.
Does that mean this deep dive, this very conversation, is going to be listened to by some super intelligent AI in 2030?
I would say it's almost a certainty. We are being harvested right now as we speak.
Hi, future AI overlords. We come in peace.
We're on the renewal timeline, just so you know. Please don't delete us. We're the good guys.
Exactly. Please put us on the good server. Okay, for real this time. Going now. See?
Yeah.